Hey, what's up, team? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. Today we're talking about the ISFP. This is the last profile video in this series, and let's get right into it. So, what we're doing here is we're taking what's technically called the cognitive functions and your cognitive functions stack, and we're kind of reskinning it to work with RPG elements and kind of game elements and whatnot, just to make it a little bit more easily understood, as well as to have some fun with it and kind of lighten up a bit. Because this whole stuff, all this cognitive function stuff is deep and it gets really complicated. So having an easier way to dive into it seems to help. So within your cognitive functions stack, this is your mental wiring, you have four main components. The first one is called your dominant cognitive function. And what that is where you mentally exist when everything's going well. So what it's technically called is introverted feeling for you and me as well. If you're an ISFP or an INFP. And that's just your way of understanding the world and making decisions. It's based on your introverted, your subjective understanding of your feelings and values and whatnot. And that's how you make pretty much every decision in your life, if you can, right? Sometimes you can't do it like that, but that's your preference. And these are all preferences. It's, a lot of people relate it to left-handedness or right-handedness, right? Like if you're right-handed, somebody throws a ball at you, you can catch it with your left hand. You don't have to catch it with your right hand, but odds are you're going to catch it with your right hand. So when you're making a decision, odds are you're going to try to do it based on your introverted feeling, your internal subjective understanding of how things work and how you want to represent yourself as a person. Okay, so I call that your hero. That's like a priest, kind of like an elf healer kind of style, and we'll get into it in a bit after we go through this whole little run through of the four characters within this adventuring party. So that's you, that's your hero. Next up you have the auxiliary cognitive function, and that is what kind of supports you in making decisions. It's how you learn information, how you gather information and perceive and understand the world. Not making decisions, right? And it's extroverted. It's not introverted like your hero style. So it helps you kind of get another viewpoint of the world and kind of balances you out a little bit. So I consider that to be your companion. I've said it before, kind of like a Frodo and Samwise type thing, or Han Solo and Chewie, or whatever you want to call this whole situation. But it's just your buddy, your way of supporting you going forward through your quests and your adventures in your life. Yep, so that's your companion. We'll get into it a little bit more, but next up is your newbie. Your newbie is a newbie. He's rolling in with this group here. Sorry, I just bumped the table. But he's a little unsure of how the rules of the game work sometimes, and he'll cause you some problems, but he's a good guy. He's got his heart in the right place, but sometimes he just messes up. That's your tertiary function, technically. And let's consider that to be on like a level 10, okay? A level 10 character, whereas the hero and the companion are like a level 30. So the higher you level up yourself, he'll follow along too and get more experience as well. But he's never going to surpass the abilities of the hero or the companion. After that, the fourth member is your inferior function or aspirational function. And basically everything that you do as your hero function, okay, you're always trying to make decisions that are congruent and authentic with yourself, and looking at the individual's emotions and how they value and view the situations. But the more you focus on that, the more you have to ignore this other side of the spectrum here. And that is extroverted thinking, and that's logic in the outer world, simply put. I consider this to be your escort, and it's like a buggy AI for most of your life. When you get into your 30s and 40s, depending on how much work you've done on yourself through personal growth and whatnot, you'll become more accepting of it, and you'll be more willing to follow this escort, escort the escort on his quest to unlock the treasures and the values hidden within that other side of that polarity that we were just talking about. But before that, it's going to be difficult. It's going to cause you problems. And, when you don't like somebody, it's probably because they remind you of that aspect. So, let's go back in time to the hero. And let's talk a little bit about how priests work, how this elf healer kind of style works. And like I think I mentioned this, I don't know. I'm an INFP, and if you're an ISFP, we both lead, our hero function is introverted feeling. And what that is, a little bit more, is just basically every instance in your life, you've kind of looked at it from afar. Not every instance, I guess, but most of them. You looked at it from afar and you thought, like, how did I act in the past when something similar to this was happening? Or how would my decision affect this person as an individual and as their own being in the world, right? You don't want to impress, not like impress, but you don't want to push people into different situations that they do not personally agree with, okay? Because introverted feeling is all about letting you be who you are and not imposing on you or whatever. And at the start, when you're younger and when you're leveling up this hero, it's difficult because you don't really understand it. You don't have enough experience dealing with all these different choices and actions and decisions and whatnot and judgments. So this is where a lot of introverted feelers, a lot of us priests, could be a little moody at times, right? When we're younger, we don't really know what we're doing, get a little emo or whatever, and just not stable, right? But eventually you make more and more decisions and you experience life more and more, and you build this structure of understanding of who you are and what resonates with you. So introverted feeling, I'm going to look at some abilities down here in my MacBook. Inner fire, so boost resources and highest stat of a target. Drive the target to seek internal understanding, direction, and authenticity in actions. This could be a little bit more towards INFPs, but basically you honor the individual, like I was saying before, and you want everybody to think a little bit more about themselves and kind of delve into their subjective value-based, feeling reality a little bit more, and be authentic to themselves. What else? Spark a life, buff target to do more damage if it's the only one of its kind. So promote and defend uniqueness in individuals. Talked about that a little bit too. Attune, all healing and damage is shared between you and your target. So invest your emotions in your target. I consider priests to be more like one-on-one healers, like a pocket healers, not an AoE healer. They're not really concerned about meshing with the group and doing what is socially acceptable, but it's more of like zooming into that individual level. And to do that, you have to attune yourself with other individuals, and you do that based on your own experiences in your past and how you've understood those to affect yourself, you know, and how you felt about situations. Let's see, shield other, shield target through your own hit points, mirror current emotions through empathy. When you see somebody in a difficult situation, you probably tend to go into yourself and imagine you actually being in that situation and really how that person feels at a super deep level that most people don't get into. And that's not saying that it's better or worse than any of the other functions or whatever. It's just what we do as introverted feelers. Yeah, me personally, like I struggle with even like animals and insects and stuff dying, and this is gonna sound really weird, but there are mannequins here in Japan. I assume this is the same in the States too, but they have like little poles stuck into their shin down here. I can't, yeah, right there. I do have pants on, by the way. But yeah, it's just like wedged in there, and every time I look at it, I squirm because I imagine myself in that situation, and it's awful, right? So that could be something that you do. Might not, might just be something that I do, but yeah, anyway, back on track. Let's see. Instant shield, protect yourself for a short time, hold back and cover your emotions. So we spend so much time invested in our emotions, right? Like always thinking about how we value this, how we feel about it, whatever it is. And if you're always doing that and you're willing to like accept all these other emotional inputs and whatnot, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna wear you down and you're gonna get exhausted. So a lot of times introverted feelers kind of separate themselves and like build this wall, this barrier around to keep people away. And it's not because we're assholes or mean or anything like that. It's just because it's like this raw nerve. It's like we just have open flesh wounds, and anybody that gets close might brush into it and it stings. So if you let people in too easily, too much, then you know you're bound to get hurt. I used to try to be a mental robot because I didn't want to get hurt anymore, right? So yeah, that's instant shield. Man, there's so many. Death watch, heal the lowest health party member, help the disenfranchised, those in need, and the underdogs. Like choosing to focus on the individual instead of the whole group. And if one person is getting picked on or whatever, you probably have this kind of pull, or you know, this gravitational pull that's going towards helping that person despite everybody else, you know, ragging on them. Man, so many. Calm emotions, soothe your target, listen deeply with your inner emotions. Our neocortex is all wired to go into flow by listening to people and like utilizing the whole outer ring of our neocortex basically to just listen and empathize and take in all this information. And then eventually we kind of switch into a decision-making mode, and it's like, okay, we've made our decision. This is how it is. This is how I feel about it. And as ISFPs, you're more likely to listen and then act, and then listen and then act. You know, kind of make decisions more frequently and make judgments more frequently. And that is because, I think, because of your companion, your auxiliary function. And this is just my understanding of it. If you have more detailed explanations, please let me know. But your companion is extroverted sensing. I consider it to be like a dwarf berserker, this dude with, you know, 2 hammers or weapons or whatever they are, that runs in there and just wants to dive into the fight and experience the battle and experience life for what it is. No kind of fantasizing about what all this stuff is. It just wants to really get its hands on whatever the person or the object is and explore what his senses can tell him about it, right? How tall, how heavy, the you know, shininess of it, and the texture and smell and taste and all that stuff, right? How the actual object or person exists in the world. And because of that, you know, like I was saying, your hero wants to kind of heal people one-on-one, takes that step back a little bit, and then your berserker is running in there to just swing and see what it's like. And then take that other step back, analyze it a bit more, and then go in again. Yeah, I mean, extroverted sensing, I'm not going to get into it too much more, but it's just all about that real-time, kinesthetic, like, bodily information, how you physically understand things. And so the hero and the companion work together with helping people visually and physically understand emotions. So this is why ISFPs a lot of times have that stereotype of being artistic, or, you know, painters, drawers, musically inclined, whatever it is. It's because that's a physical way of expressing the internal world of emotions and understanding that most people don't really get to experience. So that's kind of how those two, the hero and the companion, work out really well for helping other people and expressing yourself and getting some of that baggage off of you, right? So after that, you know, just the two of you, the hero and the companion, are not enough to fully take on all these dragons and the horde, or whatever you want to call them, in your life. So you do have 2 other party members that kind of just tagged along, I guess. And the newbie is the mirror opposite, the polar opposite of extroverted sensing. So extroverted sensing is real world, tangible, right? Introverted intuition, this is your newbie, is internal, subjective, and abstract. So it's another learning function. It's a perceiving function. And it's just really slow and analytical and trying to kind of fill in the blanks of how the world works and what's the deep meaning behind all these events and whatnot. And I consider this to be like an elf hunter, a sentinel, stalking its prey, taking time, slowly expanding and exploring out in the terrain and whatnot in the world, and then finding its prey and just taking that one shot that critically hits, right? The problem with the newbie is that it's of the same race as your hero. And this is not just for you, this is for everybody. But so if you are okay with accepting the idea that introverted feeling is an elf healer, okay, a priest, then the newbie, being introverted intuition, is also an elf, okay? And it's easy to stay within the same culture and the same viewpoint of the world, right? So two elves can understand the world in a very unique way that an elf and a dwarf cannot understand together, right? You can't explain it as easily. And so when you listen to the newbie too often, or you take its advice too readily, then this is where you get stuck in this loop of living in this elven world, right? And not embracing new experiences, right? It's just all in your subjective past, and you don't want to try new things because you don't want to get hurt. And then you keep predicting abstractly what the meaning of everybody's interactions are and like where this is going. And then you're just like, well, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to get hurt again, so I'm not. And then you just close yourself in, right? And so what you need to do is listen to that every once in a while, okay? Make sure you know that this sentinel is still on your team, but don't fully just embrace everything it says without listening to your companion. Okay, so go out there, experience things, do something new, you know, get some adrenaline going, and just live life so that you have more accurate value understandings of how you want to exist in situations and how, you know, you can understand other people, right? So listen to your companion more often. I know several ISFPs. They're all Japanese girls, though, which might be a little different, but very, very like kept away from everybody. They don't want to explore anything, and they're just kind of stuck, right? It's because they're not listening to their companion. They're not going out there and exploring a bit, right? Taking chances, balancing risks and rewards and whatnot, right? Okay, so next is your escort. Your escort is this like level 3 AI. It's buggy, it gets messed up, and it messes you up because you don't understand it. It's another decision-making function, technically. So introverted feeling is your hero. So the polar opposite is extroverted thinking. Extroverted thinking is external, logical approaches, logical understanding to making decisions. It's detached from emotions and from the subjective, you know, reality of things, and it's just like charts, graphs, you know, like numbers, math, all that stuff that just makes me cringe. But it uses that to make decisions that everybody can readily understand. Like, you see this information, that means we need to go this direction. We need to make this choice. You can't argue with it too much because it's like, yeah, that does make sense. It's true. You're right. Right? But the problem is the hero wants to make decisions based on values and emotions, right? And health bars, right? You're looking at people's health and how they feel about the situation, you know, and how you feel about the situation. And if you don't accept the decision internally, then, you know, you won't do it. You won't go along with it. And you won't expect other people to do that either, right? But this extroverted thinking is kind of like a geomancer, this dwarf mage, and he's just moving things around in the environment to continue forward, right? Step-by-step approaches, like If I move this block over here, then we can go forward. If I drop this meteor of evidence onto everybody, they can't deny it. And if they do, they're screwed, right? So just making quick step-by-step decisions. And so this escort kind of drives you crazy, right? So you got to watch out for it. When you get really stressed out and you can't be authentic to yourself, you can't do what you really, cherish as an individual, then you're going to get stressed out, and this escort, this geomancer is going to start throwing boulders and stuff, and it's going to cause havoc, and you're going to lose control, and you're going to probably get aggressive, try to move people around, ignore the feelings and the emotions and stuff that you do best, right? Because you're letting this other character take charge, right? And get out of hand. So what you can do when you get really stressed out like that is to just take a step back. Try to get back into your introverted realm, right? And that could be through just thinking a little bit more deeply about the repercussions of all the actions and stuff that you're doing. Take that step back, let your brain calm down, give it some time to think and analyze and theorize about whatever it is the situation is. And when you do that, then you're going to be more likely to slowly flow into your introverted feeling, your priest style. So be careful with that. But like I said before, remember that all 4 of these members are within your mental wiring, right? So don't ignore any of them. You have to embrace that they're there. You have to accept it and realize when the balance is off, right? And you're going to do that by just keep continuing to bring awareness to all 4 of those characters, right? So last point, just like I said before, stick with your companion and your hero for all the big decisions. Really just go out there, explore, figure out how you feel in many different situations, and use that to help other people, right? To physically help other people, whether you're in the nursing profession or whatever. Like, you can understand them at a level that they might not even understand themselves, and then you can physically help them. Okay, well, that's my little profile on ISFPs. It was a long video, sorry about that. I hope it was good. I hope you learned something about it. And yeah, right below, any comments, questions, whatever you got to say. If I said something that was good or bad, let me know, and we'll talk about it. Okay? Thank you. Take it easy. Good luck. Have fun. See ya.